Hi guys, and welcome back to a new episode. Before we get started, if you do want to join my Discord, the Discord link will be in the description below, so feel free to join and we can talk about pretty much whatever you want. We talk about the latest magic sets, deck techs, memes, all sorts of fun stuff. And if you're lonely and just want to chat in there, you're welcome to join, completely free, no strings attached. You can join or leave whenever you want. So yeah, check it out in the link below. So today's deck will be the Wanderer, sort of a control-y build. Didn't really know what to call it. I think it's kind of control because you can flash in the Wanderer during your opponent's turn and activate the abilities in their turn. So I think that's really useful. Being able to make a 2/2 for -1 is such amazing value for this Planeswalker because not only can the Samurai protect it, it can also attack because it has Vigilance. You can also use the +1 ability to put a counter on a creature given first strike, so it attacks with Vigilance first strike. And also the -2 is a really nice way to exile tapped creatures your opponents control, which may also pose a threat to you. Annoyingly, the Wanderer can't kill opposing Samurai, so that's a small downside, but you just have to be wary of opponent's creatures with Vigilance. So the body of the deck consists of a lot of 2-drops. You can see the 2-drops there, how many there are. Let's have a look. So we have 23 creatures in the deck, 37 lands, and yeah, so the land count is pretty simple because it is mono white, mostly plains, but you can put your favourite colourless lands in as well to just pad it out. Crawling Ground is nice just because you can have a mana land that can attack opposing planeswalkers. Don't forget the power of sorcery speed creatures. Really good. I mean, you can even block this if you want, if your opponent's attacking with smaller stuff. So because it's kind of a strange deck, because it can fight its way out of a tough control mirror or even creatures, opposing creatures, because you've got a few things like Day of Judgment that can just eradicate your opponent's creatures. Obviously, you're going to be making your own as well, but then you want you're still going to want board wipes regardless of the deck type you have. Which is kind of a common misconception I find, that just because you're running creatures you shouldn't use board wipes. That's true to some extent, but you can't always think in the positive. Like, let's think in the negative terms. So if your opponent's overwhelming you with loads of creatures, having a Day of Judgment at hand is just going to save you from the pain of being overwhelmed. So it has a lot of the white control-y cards that you'd see in a lot of other decks, like Elspeth Conquers Death. You've got Mangara the Diplomat to stop your opponent's doing multiple things for a turn, otherwise you draw a card. You've got Faithbound Judge, which is a really nice new card that I think is kind of like a staple in mono white decks because it can defend. It can eventually be cast from the graveyard for 7 mana to attach to your opponent. You can just basically win the game using this trigger. But yeah, it features quite a lot of interesting unique cards, stuff like Mana Tithe, just to make your opponent think about what kind of deck you are, because it's a very unusual deck type this is. So let's get into some games and see how well we do. Don't forget to send me a like and subscribe if you like what you see. And at the end of the video, there will be a deck breakdown just to go through what I've learned through the games that I'm about to play. So see you then. Sweet, so we go first against Cody Vociferous Codex. We have got a fairly decent starting hand. Just enough lands to get the Skyclave Apparition out, and then we can exile Cody when it comes in. So Cody's going to be a spell-heavy deck with no permanence in it, I presume. So I guess we can start with the Lumbering Light Shield. This will make a spell in the hand a bit more expensive. And when you're using mono white, you want every edge you can get. So stuff like taxation effects is really useful versus your opponent. I didn't include the Thalia in here because Thalia slows us down too much. So what could this spell be? Could be some kind of board wipe for 3 mana to take out our creatures, but I guess we could... What do I want to do here? So if that is the 3 mana board wipe, would they really use it on 2 creatures? I'm not really sure. Tell you what, for now, we'll go for Martyr for the cause. So I forgot to mention this in the deck tech, but there's a couple of cards in white and colours that allow you to proliferate. And it's really useful for any Planeswalker builds because, as I said in other videos, even if you just got 1 counter, that's enough to basically like time walk your opponent. And what that basically means is you've cheated +1 loyalty so you can get closer to ultimates. In this case, the Wanderer doesn't have any ultimate per se. However, you know, being able to create another samurai is very effective here. So now we've wiped their fields of anything. We could see potential board wipe from them, which would be annoying, so it was a Doomscar ultimately. So unfortunately they do get... Oh, okay, yeah, because if you exile a general with a Skyclave Apparition and this dies, they won't get anything back for that, so that was pretty lucky. So for now, I think we can go for the Esper Sentinel, and then end of their turn, we can flash in the Wandering Emperor. And the Wandering Emperor has nice synergy with Esper Sentinel because it can also put a counter on it, and then all of their spells are going to make us draw cards essentially.
I hope you're ready to lose.
Oh, we got super lucky there. So the Wanderer's Strike is going to exile the Cody, then we proliferate. And we already have a counter on the Sentinel, so we're going to get 2 counters here, one here, one here. So that was wonderful. And I think I want to put another creature into play.
Keep watch for it.
So now we are in kind of like a mode where they might be thinking about going for a board wipe, but we still have the Wanderer. Primal Amulet draws us a card. Sweet, so I guess we can put another counter on the Esper Sentinel. This will make it really difficult for them to cast any spells. We have 3, 4, 5 lands, so going for the Loyal Warhound now is cool because it gives us a land. So it's working out quite well versus a normally very potent 5-colour deck. Swinging. And there's no need to go for the Intrepid Adversary yet, because this is essentially going to be a way to potentially close the game out. So let's see what they do here. They're going to need a board wipe or they're dead. So this Adversary is good because it gives all of your creatures +1/+1 for each extra counter on here. Kaya's Wrath comes out, so we are going to be able to draw. So they're at 10. And I think I'm going to draw with the Mind Stone because we're okay for mana. Mana Tithe could be nice. Welcoming Vampire. This is pretty awesome. So we're going to go for the Welcoming Vampire first, unless it gets countered, which would be very sad. So when we make a Samurai now, we draw a card because it says whenever a creature comes in with power 2 or less. And we might as well go for the Environmental Sciences as well, just to get more land out of our deck. So stuff like this is super useful because you're not always guaranteed to have all the lands. And once again, we'll keep the Adversary back. Harrow, so they'll be able to recast Cody in their turn. But the thing about that is, every time they cast Cody, it gives us a window. So let's see if they tap out here. That means we can get them with a Mana Tithe, which would be super effective. Critical hit. Annoyingly, they still have 1 mana open, so Mana Tithe isn't going to work. Baffling End. Oh, this is almost perfect. So yeah, we'll go Baffling End on the Cody. So yeah, we don't want to give them any advantage here. So again, I think we probably want to... Let's look at the math. So we've got 4 damage coming in. Yeah, so let's create another guy. So like, once again, we're forcing them to have a board wipe. Maze Mind Tome, really useful to keep drawing those cards. So once again, we are forcing them to have yet another board wipe. Final Parting comes down, so they're going to get any card to the hand and 1 card to the bin. So let's think about this. They're probably going for a board wipe, aren't they? And being 5 colour, they'll have access to all the colours, so it could be any one of them. There's quite a few to choose from. But let's just hope it's 4 mana. This means we can mana tithe them and probably win the game from there on. But yeah, we've been really lucky this game, getting the exact removal we need. I've faced many Cody decks in the past where it's just, if they get one ability off with Cody, you kind of lose the game because the advantage is so superior to what anything else can do. It's crazy. Like, cascading spells is terrifying. It's a lot like Golos, but for spells. Oh, they put... Oh, interesting. So let's look at the battlefield there. They chose blood on the snow, but they put that in the graveyard. 4 mana. So obviously they didn't have any other board wipes, huh? Fair enough. Moving on to the next game then. Opponent goes first with Hinata Dawn-Crown. So this looks to be like one of the new bogeymen of the format. It's the new Jeskai General. Makes your spells cost 1 more to target and 1 less for theirs to target. So for each target they have, spells are cheaper, which can stack up considerably. So they can cast ridiculous spells for very cheap. Okay, so I want to go for the Mind Stone here. That means next turn we can go for the Wandering Emperor. If you're wondering how I got this skin for the card, it was in the shop. So you just have to get lucky. And do they have a counter spell? Probably. But I guess I do want to get the Smothering Tithe out, so we should probably try Disdainful Strike. So they probably would have countered our general anyway. But yeah, these kind of decks, oh, they missed their land drop. So they probably have another counter spell. So let's go for some other spells. So you can see the game holds priority whenever they have a possible response. Oh, Welcoming Vampire is going to be decent to draw a card, so we'll keep that on top. And yeah, we don't want to go for the adversary just yet. If they go for the general, we can go for Faith's Fetters. Interesting. So they could have a counter spell or a board wipe. First thing we do, swing in. Nice. So do I want to risk the Welcoming Vampire here? Or the thing is, if they have a board wipe, then we are going to be screwed. So no, I don't really want to do that yet, not knowing they have this spell here. I'd rather just cast my Wandering Emperor and let them counter it. They seem to be very adamant that that's what they want to do, and this is what they're going to do here probably. Or not. Okay, fair enough.
Run away. You'll be safer.
So let's go up. Using these abilities changes depending on what you're facing. Because I'm facing red, I'm very cautious that they have lightning bolt effects. Okay. So let's put another counter on the Charming Prince. They could just kill it here. But if they kill it, they don't have a board wipe in hand, potentially. Lawhold Command, interesting. Okay. So that does open up our options. Let's go for Welcoming Vampire. And then we can play this guy and kick him once. So, how big is this guy? So it's a 4/4, so our Giant Killer does actually kill it, despite it not being a giant. Let's see what they do. So they're attacking with this guy, yeah. Let's try and block here. Don't mind trading the Anthem, because I'd rather keep the Vampire because it can draw us cards, which is going to be really helpful. So here comes Hinata. And so, let's think about this for a sec. Okay, let's try and target the Hinata with the Giant Killer first. Counter spell, okay. So that was inevitable, wasn't it, really? I guess we can go for the Apostle, which draws us a card. And then I think I want to uptick.
Strike fast and strike hard.
Yeah, pass a turn. So they're going to be able to hit the Wandering Emperor. So we could just basically lose the game here, essentially. They've got a huge spell. Yeah, this is the annoying thing about facing these blue decks, is they're just going to have so many counter spells and
to rest in pieces.
just the way it is. Just the way it is. Explosion. Okay, so they're drawing a lot of cards here, and that only cost them. So they've got 1 mana left open, which is a shame. So we might as well exile a card with the Apostle. Cosmos Elix. So we could exile the Hinata. But tell you what, let's try and get a Faith's Fetters on it. If they counter this, then we can just use the Wandering Emperor anyway. Okay, cool. So now we can just put the counter on this guy and swing in.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
So annoyingly, they'll still get the passive trigger from the Hinata. Everything they do costs 1 less for each target. But at least it won't be able to attack. I mean, they can easily remove Faith's Fetters, so gain control of my creature. Okay. Did not expect that. A quadruple blue spell in a 3-color deck. Wow. Interesting. Reconstruct History gets back 2 spells. And now I regret my life decisions because I didn't counter the counter spell. They're going to steal something else as well. Let's cycle the Secluded Step. Glass Casket, that could be good. So let's try and go for the Apostle. Now, the annoying thing here is that they've got Invoke the Wind, so we can't play the Cosmos Elixir until this goes away. So what I might do for now is activate this guy and then put a counter on it.
Strike fast and strike hard.
And then I think I'm going to use the mana to draw a card, because they could just steal Mind Stone either way. So I do wonder if they have any other creatures, because if they don't, then they can't do anything with Hinata at the moment. And then we might be able to just get in with the Faceless Haven, which they can't steal in their turn because it's a mana land, so...
Show them how we greet our enemies.
Okay, so they're down to 12, and I guess I could just go for the Signet. So if they steal that, then whatever. Not too bothered. It's quite funny though, if they only have sorcery speed answers, they can't actually deal with the Faceless Haven. Ah, the Immortal Sun. So that is pretty annoying. Because now we can't activate the Wanderer. But yeah, once again, I can't cast either of these, because if I do, they're just going to steal it. Do they have an answer? Key to the Archive. Okay, so I know for a fact this can get them Lightning Helix or something, so that might be able to buy them a turn or something. But I wonder if there's any other... Something like Doomblade would be able to kill the Haven. Discarding the counterspell, okay. Yeah, it's a real shame about them targeting the Wandering Emperor, because they would actually be dead now, because we would have been able to put counters on the Faceless Haven. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so What could we do? Yeah, again, I can't do either of these because they can just steal it, so there's no point. Wow, so they're just literally going to gain some life and draw a card. So that does buy them an extra turn, somewhat annoyingly. Pretty obnoxious deck. It looks like the whole deck is counterspells. And we probably lose here because they just go for the Demonic Tutor, which is a real shame. Yeah, these kind of decks, they're not very fun to face, as many of you are aware. We have drawn an awful lot of lands as well, which is unfortunate. And they got super lucky with the Immortal Sun because this is basically won them the game, I think. Like, if you consider that this card shuts off our general completely, so we don't have the extra card to play around with. Question is, do they even have a card that can deal with Faceless Haven? Like a Lightning Bolt doesn't work. Field of Ruin, of course they do. Okay, that sucks. So yeah, we've pretty much lost the game now, I think. I think that was our only out, to be honest. They can just counter every other spell we have. And basically, if I don't get anything useful in my next draw, I'll just concede the game. Because what's the point? Yeah. So you can probably see here, there's no point playing. They can steal either of these permanents. We can't use our Planeswalker. So yeah, they won that fair and square, I guess. Moving on to the next game then. Okay, so the opponent goes first, as always, with Croxer. Croxer, the big scary face man. I don't know if you've seen his face, but it's made of teeth. It's just like teeth face man. You wouldn't want to see him in the Dark Alley. We have God's Willing. What should we do? You know what? I'm going to go for the Fountain of Renewal. Gaining some life every upkeep could be relevant versus a Rakdos build. Reveals a hand, they can discard a non-land from it. Okay, that's pretty annoying. So it's a dedicated discard deck, it seems. So against this kind of deck, I've said it before, we want ways to... Interesting. So they also lose a card for doing that. Okay, fair enough. I don't think I've read this properly before, so... Reveal the hand, you may choose a non-land card. Exile it. If it's not black, exile a card from your hand. Interesting. So it seems like they're really scared of the Faithbound Judge, interestingly enough. Yeah, so annoyingly, all of our stuff is kind of reactive. And until they get Croxer out, not much we can do. This life gain might be pretty useful, to be honest. Ooh, Tashar. So they know we have the Wandering Emperor. Okay, so we'll make them work around it. That's what they want to do. If they have a real spell, they have it. Not much we can do about that. We do get priority then when we cast this, so we will be able to make a 2-2.
Run away. You'll be safer.
Do they have a kill spot for either of our things? Fatal Push, they do, but at least Wandering Emperor stays alive here. Well, they might have a Lightning Bolt or something. Sweet. Opponent's probably not used to seeing off-meta cards, but that's the deal with this channel. If you've never seen my channel before, then welcome to the channel. I hope you like what you've seen so far. My goal is to make powerful decks as such, but not necessarily, you know, the tier 1 stuff all the time. It's nice to have a break from that now and then. Liliana's Triumph. the timing on this was interesting. They didn't have to do that then. In fact, that was probably the least optimal play, unless they really wanted to kill my samurai. But
Until next time, then.
so they need to exile 5 other Playcrafter. Wow, they've just annihilated our hand and field. Fantastic. So this guy gives us a basic plane. That's pretty useful, actually. Especially when we have Castle Ardenvale out. We want to get enough lands to start proccing this, then we can start doing more stuff. So Ambitious Farmhand reads, so it gets the planes when it comes in, or we can transform it into a 3/3 lifelink if you have 3 or more creatures with different powers. This is quite easily done with our general because we make 2/2s that we can buff up to 3/3s and 4/4s. So we're going to discard again. We'll get rid of the Banishing Slash because that's the least useful card. Faith's Fetters is certainly going to do a number here because they're not going to be able to get rid of this, I don't think. Can't attack or block or use abilities, so... Oh, here we go. So we've got the card advantage we need. These are the perfect cards versus a discard deck because, as I said on my old videos, oh, discard our cards, then draw, then exile the graveyard. That's pretty clutch, that was. Okay, luckily we can still draw extra cards. And the life gain mitigation with the Fountain of Renewal is beautiful. So yeah, let's go for the Welcoming Vampire. So next turn, if we want to go for the Wandering Emperor, we can make a 2/2 and draw a card. One thing about being a YouTuber is you do get a sore throat a lot of the time. You draw 2 cards and each opponent discards 2. Damn, son. They keep refilling their hand. So apologies if I sound like I've got a frog in my throat, because most probably I do have a frog in my throat, so. And... well, we might as well play our stuff right, because they're just going to discard our stuff anyway, so... swinging. So annoyingly, it has delayed our casting of the Wandering Emperor. Very naughty discard decks, very naughty. People who make these kind of decks are evil. Ooh, okay. So they're going to get rid of 3 and 2. So they're probably going to get rid of the odds. But if they choose even, oh, they choose even, so they want to go for the Croxer again. Which they can't do quite yet. Quite yet. Can you say stuff like quite yet? It doesn't sound right, does it? Quite yet. It's been a long day. Okay. So once again, we can just refill our hand. Ooh, ho, ho, ho. Absolutely beautiful. So we've got a couple of wonderful cards here. Charming Prince. So let's use this to scry too. Oh my flippin' heck. These are the cards we want to see. So, annoyingly, they might make us discard this, but what are you going to do? You have to play stuff. Do not keep stuff in hand versus a Croxer tech. Pro tip of the century. If you keep stuff in your hand, you're just going to lose it. Inquisition? Well, that's funny, isn't it? Tergrid? Why did you cast Tergrid when they saw I had this in my hand? I think they've just committed suicide, basically. That's a silly ass move. I'm really sorry, Tempest, but that was stupid. Because if you'd done this as the Tergrid's Lantern side, I couldn't have exiled it. But yeah, now I've just got to do this, haven't I? Right, so now I've got some fodder in my hand, so I'm happy to discard the Ornithopter. I still can't get over how silly that move was. Why? Oh well. I shouldn't really complain. Basically means I'm going to win the game now. That was a fatal mistake. Yeah, all it takes is one mistake, guys. And yeah, you can't always be on the ball, but... I mean, I'm certainly, you know, I've definitely made mistakes before, but... Why include card discard cards to look in my hand if you're not gonna... You know, if you're not gonna... I don't know. Like if your deck, right, is dedicated discard and you see the cards in the hand, then the whole point of that is you work around it in such a way to not get screwed over. But they saw the information and they still went ahead with their plan anyway. Just very unusual. I don't think we can lose this. There's no black and red cards that get rid of all your permanents. Ugin's not in the format anymore, which is really good. So here comes Croxer. So what I'm going to do is, on the stack, just exile it. They are going to gain 6, but I'd rather not have to deal with the Croxer. And we might as well create a dude as well, which draws us another card. We're drawing a lot of planes here. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to get out of this one, guys. We have so many auto triggers. Undo inversion, we ain't casting that, that's for sure. And authority, flippin' heck. So let's go for the Wanderer. This gets us another card.
I am the Emperor of Kamigawa, and guards to me.
And then I'm going to set the undo inversion as the land because it would be pointless keeping that up. Surprised I haven't quit yet. I mean, if they're happy to keep discarding stuff, then so be it. But they don't even have a graveyard because they've exiled it, so they can't actually kill anything with Liliana.
We're doing things my way.
Sure, draw more cards. Vecna proving to be insanely good. Oh wow, Anacon's Bastion. This is going to be fantastic. So let's put a counter on our life linker. This is going to be juicy. Do I even care about Liliana? I don't know. Do I? Don't think I do. Let's just go for them. Yeah, why not? Sweet. We'll set this as the Valkmira so they can't deal any damage to us pretty much. And this is an instant, so pretty sure we win on our next turn. If they board wipe, then we don't, but there's no way out of this. But I don't have mercy for people that use mean decks. Drill bit. Sure, let's activate the Rally for the Throne. They have to pay 1 whenever they target us as well. So the writing's on the wall here. So there's 2 ways this can go. They enter sportsmanship mode and they keep playing just play as usual, or they will hold on to all the triggers now. Which is it going to be? There's a lot of cards we just drew. So yeah, let's put a counter on the lifelink guy and swing in.
Strike fast and strike hard.
Don't need to pay for that. And is that going to be... Yep, there we go then. At least they were sporting, so that's nice to see. Hi guys, welcome back to the post-game review. So if you've come this far, thanks for watching my videos. What could we say about the deck? It was actually really fun to use. I think part of the charm with this kind of deck is that people don't see this style of deck coming. They're obsessed with using all the, you know, typical tier 1 stuff, like the Junior Taxi, CS and all the strong stuff that's just been released. So what I would say is part of my forte is when I used to play Paper Magic Standard especially, I used to play the meta, and that would basically involve observing what the opponents are using and basically counterplay. So if they're using, I don't know, ways to gain life. You'll use cards to make people stop gaining life. So it's something that you kind of get used to when you play Magic for, I think I've played for about 11, 12 years now. You kind of get to learn this stuff. But so it's the same that can be applied to any ladder system or any game that features, you know, a number of players and rankings. So believe it or not, even other games. So take Apex Legends, for instance. If you discover that people keep using a certain character type or specific character that does a certain thing, if you're frustrated of keep losing to them, just find their counter. Like, it's going to take trial and error. But my original point basically is by using stuff like the Wandering Emperor, people don't really know how to deal with it, and there's beauty in that and strength because there's power by withholding information. And having a white deck with flash, I think, is super powerful. Like, it's something that white hasn't really had much of. But this set weirdly does have 2 white cards with flash, but one of them is Kyodai, which is the black 5-color one. But yeah, this one gives you so much versatility, and I definitely think this is going to be an underrated card, and I think it's going to start seeing more play. Like, imagine there was just a card that said 4 mana, exile a tapped creature. That's already not too bad. You know, it's never going to be as broken as Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares, but consider that on top of that 4 mana, you have a way to put loyalty into it. You can put Samurai onto the field. You can buff other creatures. Yeah, definitely. I think I'll be picking one of these up for my commander decks in paper. But this deck in particular works quite well because you've got quite a few early defenders at the 2 mana slot. Even a utility creature like Loyal Warhound could be useful because the fact it has vigilance. Putting counters on a creature with vigilance is double duty because you're swinging in for a lot, but also you have the capacity to defend your planeswalkers. And this is why this is an unconventional control build, because you don't normally associate lots of creatures with control, but the control element is doing things in a way that your opponent isn't going to expect. Obviously, against a blue deck, this is a lot tougher to fight that fight because they inherently have a lot of answers for your flash speed anyway, so they're probably going to hold up mana. But if you like a hybrid deck, this is probably the deck for you. But yeah, look at the deck list below and tell me what you guys think. I think this is quite a spicy one. I do like this. One of my favourite ones. And being mono white is nice for your mana base because, as you can see, 27 planes. So the budget for this is pretty low. There's obviously I'm using quite a lot of rares and mythics here, but yeah, your lands, you won't need to go too far into that. You could just literally have 36 planes if you really wanted to. Doesn't matter. Don't even need command tower. But yeah, it was really fun deck to play. And if you do make the deck, tell me in the comments what you thought of it. I'm always eager to know what my audience thinks of the builds I've played. Not really had much feedback in that regard. But yeah, don't forget to join my Discord if you feel like you just want to chat about Magic. I'm online most of the time because I don't really sleep that much because I've got issues. And yeah, why not give it a go? Drop me a like, hit that sub, and help me get to 500. And then I can finally talk to my viewers and ask you what you want on a regular basis. Cool. Until next time then. If you enjoyed watching this video, why not try some of my other videos on my channel? And don't forget to support me by hitting the like and subscribe button for more content like this.